At T-Mobile, our critical mission is providing unparalleled 5G coverage for when connectivity is mission critical. Introducing T-Priority, America's best 5G network experience for first responders, even in times of congestion. More capacity, faster speeds, better coverage. T-Priority from T-Mobile, built for tomorrow's emergencies, ready today. Discover more at t-priority.com.
For qualifying organizations on eligible rate plans, coverage not available in some areas and may be impacted by emergencies.
Hi, and welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I am a food truck business trainer, author of Food Truck 101, Beginner to Winner, and the forthcoming book, Food Truck 201. This podcast is all about helping you start and grow your food truck business. Today I want to talk briefly about business credit. Having a good credit score is always the goal, whether it comes to being personal credit or business credit. But when it comes to business credit specifically, the most impactful aspect of business credit is your ability to secure financing that's completely independent of your personal credit score. If you personally have bad credit, you won't be able to qualify for loans or credit cards or other types of financing like the food and paper supplies that you might need. And this can stop your dream of a second food truck in its track. And it definitely could prevent you from attending a multi-day event where there's hundreds of thousands of people in attendance, because you won't be able to afford the food that you need in advance. So let me ask you this. If you have the ability to serve, say, 4,000 people a day, which I know is a whole bunch of people, but there are food trucks that can do it, could you pay for that much food in advance? Let's say it's $7,000. Could you do that for a 10-day event? Because now you're looking at $70,000. Now that $70,000 worth of food could potentially generate over $250,000 in sales. So what stands in your way? Is it the ability to serve that many people, or is it the ability to pay that $70,000 up front? That's why you need good business credit. Business credit is just a tool. It's just like your fryers. It's just like your grill. It's just like your hood system. It's just like a refrigerator. Nothing but a tool. You have to take care of it. Responsible business owners use good credit daily to make more money. People that cannot manage their own personal credit, those are the people that give the advice that, hey, don't get a loan. You never want to get a loan when you start a small business. For them, that's sound advice because their history demonstrates they can't handle their personal credit, so most likely they're not going to handle business credit very well. Doesn't make it a bad thing. I can list you thousands of businesses that started on a loan. There are lots of businesses that borrowed to begin. There's nothing wrong with borrowing. Where it becomes a problem is if you don't understand how to pay it back and you don't understand your business well enough to generate the cash to pay it back. According to a recent survey of small business owners, 82% of them had no clue about their business credit score or even how to get business credit in the first place. So I want to talk to you about 5 benefits of having business credit and having good business credit. And I want you to consider these before you even move on to, do you want or do you need to have business credit? First thing is financing becomes cheaper. When you got a good business credit score, that helps get you better terms on loans. It also helps you get a better interest rate for the loan. So those two things help impact your cash flow. The lower interest rate means overall you're paying less money back for the opportunity to borrow, hundreds of thousands of dollars or just even tens of thousands of dollars. But it also, having better credit, gives you the opportunity for a longer term, which means your monthly payments become lower. Now it's up to you and your accountant to figure out the balance between those two things and which one works out more in your favor as a business. But having the good business credit gets you the opportunity to make those choices. Otherwise, you're just stuck with whatever they give you. If they tell you 18% is the best we can do, take it or leave it, and you don't have good business credit, if you really need that money, you got to take it. The second thing I want you to consider is that vendors may not require prepayment. So like Cisco or US Foods or GFS or any of the other big companies may allow you to pay not on a monthly payment, because obviously you would fall behind, but they would give you a term like 1%, 10 net 30. And what that means is if you pay the full invoice that they give you in the first 10 days after the food's delivered, you get a 1% discount. Now, did you hear that? Your business credit now is affording you the opportunity to get your food for less than what it costs, a 1% discount. And then you have up to 30 days to pay the full term. So once you get to that 11th day, then you have to pay the full invoice amount. But you're still paying it after you've had an opportunity to generate sales. Walmart and all the other big stores do exactly this. All of that food and all of the supplies and everything is sitting on the shelves when you walk into Sam's Club or Walmart or Target. When you walk in there, all of that stuff is not already paid for. Those big stores are depending upon you to come in and buy it so that they can then get their 1% discount and pay it within the first 10 days. Big businesses do it. Why shouldn't you? And the only way you can do that is if you have good business credit. Suppliers and lenders may agree to better terms. So your credit score can act as a bargaining chip. And that's when it comes time to negotiate deals with your suppliers. If you have a really good credit score, you might be able to actually talk down prices, or you could extend the contract length. And if you're, again, looking for financing, you can get a lower interest rate. But you can't do any of those things if you don't have good business credit. Number 4, and this is probably the most important one, is it creates a separation of you, the person, from you, the business. And that becomes extremely important if you were to be involved in some type of lawsuit or bankruptcy. As long as there's that separation between your personal finances and your business finances, and it's a defined separation, then if you have to declare bankruptcy, it only applies to the business. It doesn't hurt your personal assets, doesn't hurt your car, your family, your house, or anything like that. But if you have things commingled, and that's typically what happens when you don't have business credit, if you declare bankruptcy on the business, you may end up losing some of your personal stuff as well. Certainly, if you get sued, all of those things get lumped together, and you could end up losing your home or your cars on top of losing your business. So it's important that you have that clear-cut separation. If you don't have that clear-cut separation, and you're constantly as an owner pumping in personal money to keep the business afloat, or you're just not taking a draw or a salary, and I hate when people tell me they don't pay themselves, really all you're saying is, I have an expensive hobby selling food. Number 5. Your business will be financially stable. Having that credit opportunity means when those little hiccups come up and the refrigerator is down and you got to replace all the food that's in it, plus you got to have somebody to fix it. If you have those credit cards, you are able to get yourself back in operation quicker with a little bit less stress on you. Yes, you got a payment to make now, but that's a whole heck of a lot better than you going, how do I get open today? How am I paying this repairman when he comes here? Guess I got to get more money out of my savings account, which now we're taking personal money to pay the business. Got to create that separation, and one of the ways to do it is with business credit. Now, it'll also help you when you achieve and maintain a good credit score. You'll also need to develop certain financial habits, like you'll need to be saving money. You need to be putting money back into the business. If you've ever paid attention to what they say about Apple, it's approaching having $1 trillion in the bank. They have that much money they're sitting on. Now, certainly a food truck's never going to have $1 trillion in the bank, but there's no reason why it couldn't have a few 100,000 and then eventually $1 million or more sitting in the bank, waiting for future expansion, waiting to cover any kind of issues that come up with equipment, and it's not a big deal. That's what you're working toward. You being able to go home at the end of the night and sleep very soundly, not because you're worn out, but because everything is operating the way you expect it to operate. You got money in the bank, you have personal income coming in, everything's good. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about how to establish your business credit. And there's a few steps to go through in that because it's slightly different than your personal credit, because you actually have to take an active role in establishing business credit. Thank you guys so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. If you're finding all the information helpful to your business, please become a monthly supporter of the podcast. Just hit the support button or follow the link in the description. Every little bit does help keep us going. Join our Facebook group. It's called Food Truck Training. We have a whole bunch of awesome members at all different levels, from brand new beginners to decades-old veterans. They've all got your back when it comes to helping you with your food truck. And again, thank you so much for listening. Come back tomorrow because I got plenty more to say when it comes to helping you and your food truck business grow.